So you want to know how you can outwork everyone.
You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
Well, having the ability to outwork everyone is actually a lot easier than you probably think.
The person who grinds the hardest always gets it. Hard work beats talent every time.
And if you truly want to achieve your goals, you are going to have to master the simple things that I'm about to lay out in this video.
You have to want it. You have to want to be better.
See, focus is a modern day superpower because everybody is distracted.
It's not difficult, there's just no competition.
To most people, the thought of sitting down to do work for more than 5 minutes is too overwhelming, so they return to their never-ending scroll.
It's so easy to be successful nowadays.
Because most people are weak.
But see, if you can develop focus, you can literally, and I mean literally, run laps around the competition with ease.
So you was placed on this earth for a reason. You weren't meant to be average, you were meant to excel.
Because by watching this video, you will have gained the ability to outwork 99% of people.
A little grinding never hurt nobody.
So do yourself a favor, put this video full screen to avoid distractions and give me your full attention, because this might just change your life like it did mine.
Stop being soft, let's embrace it. If you go through that fire, you're gonna come out real cold.
See, up until a few months ago, I found it impossible to focus. Impossible to start into a task. That was of course until I learned about what I'm about to explain in this video, but every time I would go to start into a task, I would be met with this resistance that just wouldn't let me start into my tasks. And if I did find the courage to finally sit down and attempt to start into my work, it felt impossible to focus. I couldn't direct my attention towards the task whatsoever. Instead, my brain wanted to do literally anything else. So instead I would pick up my phone and start indulging as a form of escape. And this ultimately led me to feeling bad about myself, because I would just feel so guilty for having pushed my tasks off day after day. But that was until I found a resolution. What you don't realize when you are in that period where you have an inability to focus is that if you just completed that one hard task you are putting off, it would allow you to build so much confidence in yourself. And the next time you want to go start into that work you don't want to do, you will be able to look back to the last time you done the work. And this will make it so much easier to just start, because you will have already proven to yourself that you can do it. Alex Hormozy says, this is because you start to build an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are. Meaning that if you say you are going to do the work at 6 and you do it at 6, you are proving to yourself that you are that person. And by consistently doing this, you form immense confidence. It allows you to no longer doubt yourself, because you now have the confidence that you are who you say you are. If you say you are a person who gets work done and you consistently do the work, well then that means you are right. You are a person who gets work done. You have no reason to think otherwise. It's that simple. The resolution I found that allowed me to start into this work and avoid procrastination was learning how to be bored. Hear me out. Nowadays we are all overstimulated. Truly ask yourself, when was the last time you sat down with your own thoughts? Without your phone, or without some noise playing in the background. See, it's so rare nowadays that we are bored, because our phones have just eliminated that element out of our lives. How could I ever be bored when I have the option to scroll a never-ending feed of entertainment on TikTok or any of these social platforms? By constantly trying to escape boredom, you will create an inability to stay alone with your thoughts. As a result, you will lose touch with your own self and what you want in life. Most people can't even go to the bathroom without bringing their phone. That's how addicted we are. And trust me, I'm not perfect. I struggled so much with this. This constant stimulation is making us chase comfort when we should be doing the opposite. Everything worth gaining in life is found on the other side of your discipline, in that discomfort. As a society, we have been conditioned to look for comfort and avoid the things that actually align with our mental wiring, like challenge, self-education, and growth. Understand that 99% of people can't be bored, resulting in them never being able to focus on a task with any depth. They are stuck in a constant state of doing shallow work. They get little done in lots of time. Meanwhile, a person who doesn't mind being bored gets lots done in a short amount of time. By being bored, it makes tasks far easier to execute because you are no longer going into tasks with the tension residue from your overstimulation, and this ultimately cures your procrastination because there is no longer any friction preventing you from starting into a task. So swap out the cheap dopamine activities you are allowing your brain to be rewarded by and replace them with more boring tasks like reading instead of scrolling. Sounds terrible at first, right? But after a while, the less stimulating activities will actually stimulate your brain just as much as the cheap dopamine activities did, allowing you to become a productivity beast. If you want to outwork everyone, doing deep work every day is a non-negotiable. This is the ability to enter a period of undistracted focus to complete your work. It's crazy how much of a superpower undistracted focus is in such a distracted world, and it is actually the decider to whether you will be in the 99% or in that 1% of winners. Doing periods of deep work has transformed my life, and it all begins by allocating a specific time of day to do your work. By repeatedly doing your work at this allocated time, your brain will create an association that at this time you have to work, which will result in deep work becoming a habit for you. By setting myself this deep work block, I literally became twice as productive. A task that previously might have taken 4 hours now only takes 2. This is because the deep work makes it so that there is no outward distractions pulling away your attention. How many times have you picked up your phone to look at a notification during a work session and ended up scrolling for like 30 minutes to suddenly wake up and realize, what the hell was I doing? It's said that even a 1 to 2 minute phone call during a period of deep work will cost you up to 20 minutes for your focus to be regained. This is a quick productivity hack you probably already know, but put your phone on do not disturb. For me, this is literally a non-negotiable. For a period of deep work, I set a 90-minute timer and focus on my work until the time is up. I do this because I seen Andrew Huberman explain that our brain focuses in 90-minute ultradian cycles. This means that every 90 minutes, our brains shift from periods of being very highly alert to less alert and back over. So 90 minutes is about what the brain can handle for a high degree of focus. I remember him saying that the more you do this, the more addicting entering the state of deep focus becomes. And of course, at the time I didn't believe him because it felt like so much effort to sit down and do any work. But now I fully understand what he means. Sitting down for a period of deep focus is amazing. Your thinking becomes clear because you get lost in the task and it feels like time actually moves faster. And that feeling of making progression is just amazing. To gain the ability to outwork everyone, it is vital that you identify your goals. Nowadays, it is so rare for people to actually have clear goals. Everybody is multitasking between tasks, and that's because nobody has the ability to focus anymore. So before you start into your tasks, write down what you want to accomplish beforehand. I do this in a Google Calendar before I go to bed, and this makes it clear for me to see what my objectives are for the coming day. This eliminates the distraction and resistance that comes about as a result of you debating what tasks to do. But to get to the point where you really want to sacrifice cheap pleasures and where you're willing to sit and be bored so that you can finally learn how to work hard, all comes down to how bad you really want it. Yeah, I've laid out all this great advice, but none of it means anything if you aren't willing to sacrifice for what you want. Realize that if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. And the thought that I would have to sacrifice my dreams and goals because I was too lazy to put in the work absolutely frightens me. But if we consistently eliminate our distractions, identify our goals, and sit down to focus, wouldn't it seem nearly impossible for us to not succeed? Peace.